In a world of constant change, Breaking News Hub brings you the stories that matter. Fast, accurate, and always ahead of the curve. This is BNH TV, where news breaks first. Subscribe now and never miss a headline.
The Democratic Republic of Congo, a nation that sits at the heart of Africa, both geographically and metaphorically. A land of staggering beauty where the Congo River winds its way through lush green landscapes, creating a breathtaking tapestry of nature. Vast rainforests teem with life, home to some of the most diverse ecosystems on the planet, sheltering countless species of flora and fauna. Mighty rivers carve through the landscape, providing sustenance and transport routes for millions of people. Beneath the surface, a treasure trove of minerals, diamonds, gold, coltan, cobalt. These resources are essential to modern technology and global industries. The DRC has it all. From natural beauty to invaluable resources, it seems like a land blessed by fortune. Yet, here's the kicker, it's one of the poorest nations on Earth. Despite its wealth, the majority of its people live in abject poverty. How can a country be so rich and its people so deprived? This stark contrast is a haunting question that lingers over the DRC. That's the cruel paradox at the heart of the DRC's story. A land of plenty, yet a land of suffering. A story of immense potential tragically squandered. The riches that should bring prosperity instead bring conflict and despair. A story of exploitation, greed and violence that has left deep scars on the nation and its people. Decades of conflict have displaced millions and devastated communities. This is more than just a story about one troubled nation. It's a reflection of global inequalities and the dark side of globalization. This is about how the world fails the most vulnerable, how greed trumps humanity, how the pursuit of wealth can lead to unimaginable suffering, and about the urgent need for change. The voices calling for justice and reform are growing louder, demanding a better future for the DRC. Tonight we delve into the DRC's heartbreaking paradox. Join us as we explore the complexities and contradictions of this remarkable nation. To understand the DRC's present, we must look back. We must delve into the past to uncover the roots of its current struggles and aspirations. Back to a time of hope and the tragic fall of a visionary leader. A time when the promise of a new dawn, yet dark clouds loomed on the horizon. Patrice Lumumba, the DRC's first democratically elected prime minister, dared to dream of a free and prosperous Congo. He envisioned a citizen could thrive where the wealth of the land would uplift its people. A Congo where its vast resources benefited its people, not foreign powers. Lumumba saw the potential for the DRC, African independence and self-sufficiency. Lumumba's vision threatened the status quo. His ideas were radical and transformative, challenging the entrenched interests that had long exploited the Congo's riches. Western independence and potential alignment with the Soviet Union during the Cold War orchestrated his downfall. They saw Lumumba as a threat to their geopolitical interests and moved swiftly to neutralize him. In 1961, just months after taking office, Lumumba was assassinated. His death was not just a personal tragedy but a national catastrophe, plunging the DRC into chaos. His murder, a brutal act orchestrated by foreign collaborators, cast a long shadow over the DRC. It marked the beginning of a dark chapter in the nation's history. Lumumba's vision, a beacon of hope for a nation yearning for self-determination. Yet his dream continues to inspire generations of Congolese who long for a better future. His death marked the beginning of decades of instability, violence and exploitation that continue to plague the DRC. The legacy of Patrice Lumumba remains a poignant reminder of what could have been and a call to action for what still can be. Lumumba's assassination opened the door for foreign powers and corporations to exploit the DRC's riches. His death marked the beginning of a dark chapter in the nation's history, where the sovereignty of the DRC was overshadowed by the greed of external forces. They descended like vultures, their eyes fixed on the nation's mineral wealth. The land, rich with resources like coltan, cobalt and diamonds, became a magnet for those seeking to profit at any cost. They fueled conflict, propped up puppet leaders, and plundered the DRC's resources with impunity. The local population was caught in a web of violence and exploitation, their lives disrupted and their futures stolen. This wasn't just about cold, hard cash. This was about control over the land, the people, and the vast wealth hidden beneath the soil, about securing access to the raw materials fueling the global economy, coltan for our smartphones, cobalt for our electric cars. These minerals are essential for modern technology, making the DRC a key player in the global supply chain. The world's insatiable appetite for these minerals turned the DRC into a tragic battleground. The relentless pursuit of these resources led to widespread conflict and suffering. The human cost of this greed: millions dead, millions more displaced. Entire communities were uprooted and the social fabric of the nation was torn apart. Generations robbed of their future. Children forced into labor, schools abandoned, and dreams shattered. The DRC became a tragic case study in how the pursuit of profit can decimate a nation. The scars of this exploitation are still visible today, a stark reminder of the cost of unchecked greed. While foreign actors played a significant role in the DRC's suffering, the story doesn't end there. The DRC is also a victim of its own corrupt elite, leaders who prioritize personal wealth over the well-being of their people, politicians who treat the nation's treasury as their personal piggy bank. This internal rot has crippled the DRC's development. Basic services like healthcare and education are virtually non-existent in many areas. Roads crumble, hospitals lack essential supplies, schools are overcrowded and underfunded. This blatant disregard for the needs of the Congolese people is a betrayal of the worst kind. It's a betrayal that perpetuates the cycle of poverty and despair, a betrayal that makes the DRC tragically vulnerable to foreign exploitation. Section 5. The illusion of peacekeeping. Faced with this complex crisis, the international community's response has been, to put it mildly, underwhelming. Enter the United Nations peacekeeping mission, the largest and most expensive in the world. Sounds promising, right? Well, buckle up. The UN mission has been plagued by allegations of ineffectiveness, corruption, and even sexual abuse. Despite their presence, violence continues to flare up. Armed groups, often backed by neighboring countries or shadowy international networks, terrorize civilians and control lucrative mines. The situation is a damning indictment of the international community's failure to protect the DRC's people. It's a stark reminder that simply throwing money and troops at a problem is not a solution in itself. Section 6. A legacy of trauma and displacement. The human cost of this ongoing crisis is immeasurable. Millions have been killed in the DRC's conflicts. Millions more have been displaced, forced to flee their homes and live in overcrowded and unsanitary refugee camps. These camps, often lacking basic necessities, are breeding grounds for disease and despair. The trauma inflicted on the Congolese people, particularly women and children, is profound. Sexual violence, used as a weapon of war, has left deep psychological scars on entire communities. Children have witnessed unspeakable atrocities, their innocence stolen by conflict. These are not just statistics, these are human lives shattered by greed and indifference, lives that deserve our attention, our compassion, and our action. Section 7. Can the DRC break the curse? So, is there any hope for the DRC? Can this nation, so rich in resources and potential, break free from the cycle of violence and exploitation? The answer, while complex, is not entirely bleak. The DRC possesses a resilient population, a vibrant civil society, and a deep-seated yearning for peace and prosperity. There are glimmers of hope, grassroots movements demanding accountability, brave journalists exposing corruption, and ordinary citizens working tirelessly to rebuild their communities. But change will require more than just internal efforts. It will require a fundamental shift in how the international community engages with the DRC, a shift from exploitation to genuine partnership. Section 8. The imperative of global action. The international community has a moral imperative to act. We cannot continue to turn a blind eye to the DRC's suffering, fueled by our own insatiable demand for resources. We must hold corporations accountable for their role in fueling conflict and human rights abuses. This means demanding transparency in supply chains, imposing sanctions on companies complicit in exploitation, and supporting initiatives that promote ethical sourcing of minerals. We need to stop treating the DRC like a giant resource-filled piñata, there for the taking. This isn't just about charity, it's about justice. It's about recognizing the humanity of the Congolese people and their right to a future free from violence and exploitation. Section 9. Conclusion. A plea for the heart of Africa. The DRC's story is a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of our world. It's a tragic testament to how greed, indifference, and a failure of leadership can devastate a nation. But it's also a story of resilience, hope, and the potential for change. The DRC stands at a crossroads. The path ahead remains fraught with challenges, but with genuine international support and a commitment to justice, a brighter future is possible. A future where the DRC's vast wealth benefits its people, not foreign powers or corrupt elites. A future where the heart of Africa beats strong and free. Let's not allow this opportunity for change to slip away.